So good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the WoT Pro League Season 2. We are on to Matchday 15 and 16. We are flying through this season here, and obviously you are joined by myself, Pansy, and the one and only Oliver, aka Laughter. He's not all that funny, though, sadly. But nonetheless, we do have some brilliant games coming up today. We have the one and only Kazna crew up in that third place at the moment, going ahead and facing off against the newly retitled Huns Underdogs, now known as Team WD. Now, obviously, we don't just have one game, we have two. And following up from that will be Mouse Sports, who have been a little bit quiet this season, I've got to say it. But, obviously, Team WD, new title, new organisation. Give us some detail on that.
Well, Team WD, otherwise known as Western Digital, they're quite, they're quite known in the community. They're getting out there for sure, and obviously now picking into World of Tanks. Yep. They're going to continue growing and continue getting themselves more teams and stuff, and they're pretty good. It's good to see that they picked up Huns Underdogs, a team it's new. I mean, they qualified first through Go For What, new to the Pro League Season 2, proving themselves. I mean, obviously they've been having a kind of a hard time, but then that's kind of expected since they are new and they've got to get themselves used to not only the whole league structure, but also the best of 5 games, the different map pools, and just the whole pressure of being in a pro league. And there's 50,000 euros for first place, 100,000 euros for the whole season altogether, and they're really hungry. That's the good thing. They've been beating good teams. We're playing Kazna crew today. They won 3-2 against them already back in Matchday 4. So if they can do that again, they can pull out these results, then I think they're going to be unbelievable. I think, again, one of those teams we could see doing really well and start going to their own in Season 3 and perhaps towards the later match days in Season 2 even. Yeah, indeed.
So let's have a little look at the rankings at the moment, actually. Let's see exactly how well these guys are doing. Obviously, there's a big kind of storyline going on at the moment. I think that you can take us into a little bit of detail. Just about everyone will notice, just at the very top even, there's a new king on the throne as such. Team Dignitas sitting on that first place, and I think you said it last week. There's a downward spiral happening. Take us into that one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think there's 2 big factors which can affect teams. The first one being roster changes, and the second one being patch changes, obviously changes to the game. So we can talk about the first one a little bit. Virtus Pro, I mean, we keep on saying, it's a slippery slope downwards. and now, I mean, yesterday they lost against Spale 3-1. Wow. And obviously a couple of weeks ago they lost against Team Dignitas 3-1 as well. A team that went 22 match days without, well, they lost 1 battle, so they went 22 wins, 0 losses pretty much. Yep. The first match day they lost against Spale 3-0. So that was Season 1. Season 2, I mean, two losses already, and we're about halfway through. We kind of thought, this is a team that would be doing even better in Season 2, and obviously without their new team leader, Derp, we thought they would continue getting better and going up, and perhaps they could be the title holder of Season 2. But 2 losses already, and I'm really surprised because most of their players are from New Star, the second place finisher of the Golden League. And I thought, those players would make the team almost unbeatable. Exactly. But not the case.
No, and there's a lot of other changes happening in the rankings. I think a couple that obviously jump out to me. Kazna crew, first season, quite quiet, sitting around that mid-table, sitting around that 6th place mark where Spale currently is, and Mouse Sports not too far behind. But this season, they're doing fantastically well, sitting there on 10 wins and only 4 losses. Fantastic stuff from them. We will be seeing those guys up against Team WD, who, well, 5-7 is not a great way to kick things off. And Mouse Sports as well, mid-table. These guys were doing very well first season. Why is that? What's happened in that little change?
Well, it's the second thing I was talking about. It's patch changes. 8.6 was such a big patch in terms of esports. Obviously, the accuracy changes, the heat changes, but most importantly, the artillery changes. Now, we've been kind of asking the team leaders a bit. Obviously, when we have some downtime, what's really affecting this change in the leaders here? I mean, obviously, we had Mouse Sports quite confidently sitting in 3rd and really contending for that 2nd position in Season 1. But now, look at they're sitting all the way down in 7th. Well, Kazna crew and Evil Panda Squad, who finished 6th and 7th last season, are now sitting in those places, 3rd and 4th. And I think the real change is the fact that, we don't have artillery. So the teams that kind of use all their tanks in one big bulk, they put 5 tanks up one flank, are starting to win the battles, and the teams that use all their tanks in different locations, send a couple of tanks behind, send some tanks in the front, send some tanks through the middle, splitting up their forces, are starting to lose because, they can get focused down by those teams who who, you know, used to get nailed by artillery in these big clumps of tanks. And I think that's the real difference between Season 1 and Season 2.
And I like seeing it. It gives us a new kind of ensemble of teams to really look at, and it shows you a lot of the talent that's coming through, especially. And I'm waiting for these other teams to really catch up and adapt, because really there's not that much time left to do it. If you look at the boards, go onto that WoT Pro League webpage, check it out, because you can see the points are pretty darn close. From 9th to about 5th, 6th, it's a tight game there. You've got 24 points sitting with Denova up in 5th, whereas down in that 9th is only 15. So you know, there is work to be done here, and there is time to just about change it, but it has to start today at the very least, especially for the newly titled Team WD. But obviously, you've heard our thoughts already towards this, and I know a certain someone who can get you involved into this. And we want to know your thoughts towards the patch changes and those new teams that obviously are really stepping up now with that involved. And Melly, how are we doing today, my dear?
I'm good, thank you. I hope you at home are good as well. And it is pretty easy to be part of the show. You only have to follow our Twitter account at WoT Pro League and like our Facebook page. And yeah, we keep you updated over those accounts, even if you're not able to watch the stream. So come on, follow us. It's pretty easy. So, and the next thing is you can ask questions to our experts via using the hashtag WoT Pro League. I would like you to send me them via Twitter. And we will be also rewarding 3 best tweets of the day. So, and those tweets of the day will be rewarded with a bonus code. And you also have the chance to give in your predictions via our Facebook page. I already uploaded a graphic, and it's easy. You just leave your prediction in the comments below, and we will see who's going to be right. And yeah, the exact if you guess the exact outcome of the match right, you will be rewarded as well. So we have plenty of bonus keys, and we want to give them out. So be part of the show and keep your questions coming.
Indeed. Get the questions going there. Obviously, we will be having the one and only Kazna crew, the fan favourites who've really stepped it up for Season 2, coming up against Team WD. Now, obviously, Team WD have not quite been performing to par yet. There's still a lot to do. They had a great start, I've got to say it. They did well at the beginning. They beat Kazna crew, as you mentioned. But obviously, there's a lot of changes. As you said, you know, there's the patch updates, the new team compositions. But why don't you take us through these two teams here? We do have Team WD up against Kazna crew. Take us through the lineups and who you think is going to really stand out here.
Yeah, so we got Mr. Chef on the side of Team WD. He's our team captain. Good player. We've seen him, you know, play, you know, the more heavy tanks and the faster light tanks as well. So he kind of spreads his role out a bit there. We got Mikizio, a great player as well. Also was in the Clan Pirates back in the day, if anyone remembers that. David as well. He likes his AMX 5100s. Good, solid team bone, you know, backbone player, really supporting his team. But you know, he is a newer team. So we haven't seen much of them in the leagues. They didn't play A series. They got through by coming first and go for WoT. So they've got a lot of players that can really, you know, stand out, you know, become your new multi-shows, come your hybers and stuff. And on the side of Kazna crew, we've got obviously still Mojo, our team captain. Runes, a new player in the team, doing very well apart from his couple of mistakes here and there, but generally really helped their team go up. One of the other reasons why Kazna crew is doing so well. And obviously we have to talk about Hiver, great T69/AMX 1390 player. Nalium, always a good guy, offline events, good guy in general. And again, one of those backbone players, really helping and pushing his team forwards. Getting, you know, it's the consistency he seems to do really well in. Yeah, so those are your two teams, Kazna crew and Team Western Digital. Tank picking is underway now, so we can kind of get into that. We'll be on Himmelsdorf for our first map, and a little bit of history on Himmelsdorf, actually, these two teams. The first time they play, obviously, Team Western Digital won 3-2. And actually, they lost on this one. Western Digital lost to Kazna crew on this one, so we're expecting, in that respect, you know, Kazna crew to win.
Yeah, indeed. So obviously, guys, Melly let you know how you can get involved, and obviously do that. Give us your predictions out there, guys, because these two teams, you've got the fan favourite, and then you've got the guys who have to start turning this around now. Team Western Digital do not have the time anymore. We're just past the middle of the season now. Obviously, the finals are on the 24th of the 8th. It's getting closer. These guys can't keep dropping these games. They beat them once. They can, on paper, do it again. But Kazna crew so far have been so strong. And I'm just a little bit curious to see if they can bring it out again. See if, Western Digital can dig deep here and somehow, bring that A game that they showed before. It's such an important thing to them. That consistency is so important. And, well, let's have a look here at the tank pick, see what's going on, see how they're doing. Is there anything jumping out at you? Himmelsdorf, we do see quite standard picks. Obviously, it's the very normal kind of style. But anything that you think might surprise us?
Well, on Monday, we saw WoT Pro take 2 T32 so far. That hasn't happened. We've also seen some interesting setups like 3 AMX 5100s. That's the direct counter to the T69, double AMX 5100, double IS3. We usually see or to T69 instead of one of those AMX 5100 or IS3s, but here's standard stuff, T1 AMX 5100 from both teams, and then Western Digital taking a T1 and an IS3, while Kazna going for that extra AMX 5100 in there as well. Then we get an IS3 and an AMX 5100 from Western Digital, whilst Kazna crew picking the T69 and an IS3, so that Russian heavy tank paired with that American Tier 8 medium tank, and then we've got Western Digital going for a T69, so pretty mirrored in that respect, and finally Kazna crew picking an IS3. So on the team of Western Digital, we got double AMX 5100, T69, double IS3, even double T1, and Kazna crew going for double AMX 5100, double IS3, T69, double T1. So pretty much the same on both teams.
Yeah, so we will be seeing these guys face off on Himmelsdorf. They have history plenty on this. Kazna crew obviously wanted to keep up that strong mid-season game they've been bringing. And, well, Team WD need to impress now, so this is their chance to do it. Let's get into Himmelsdorf. So, welcome back. Obviously, we will be seeing in the blue side populated by Kazna crew, whereas the south side populated by the newly titled Team WD. Now, we need to see which side really can get the good advantage going forward into this one. Both teams need this win. I can't stress it anymore. Team WD need to turn this around right now. But what are we seeing early on here? Any surprises coming out or a very standard start?
A pretty standard start. I mean, they are splitting up a little bit more than you'd see some teams, but standard stuff. The double AMX 5100, T1 going to the left, and also we've got the T69 going to the right along with another T1. So pretty standard stuff. IS3 is going for that 8 line, that banana road, obviously. They want to keep that banana road safe. They want to have the hull down position. Would have kind of liked to see a T32 instead of the IS3. We did see Kusok from WoT Pro play that so well. I mean, he took Delgado down to like 500 HP without losing very much at all. Kazna crew kind of playing it backwards. They're trying to get the spots out early on and trying to put some pressure perhaps on the Western Digital.
Yeah, indeed. Making them make that move, it seems. Obviously, Hyber there, just prowling around that D-line, just trying to keep eyes on, being a little bit aggressive, actually, in that T69. He has received a couple of shells there, having to back off, but one in retort as well. So, Mr. Chef, damage down to 1142, Hyber 1039. And Hyber is such an important player in that T69. I can't say it enough. This guy always impresses me when he's playing. Now, there have been a good couple of spots going out. Kazna crew have a good idea exactly where these guys are now, so they just need to play it correctly, play it smart. Just work every single advantage they can. They can't give anything away. Team WD, they can do it.
Yeah, Kax 1 just took a lot of damage against Kobleon, surprisingly enough, actually, because Kobleon had the worst position, really. I mean, Kaska had this this mound of dirt here. It was really good to protect him. He could get his little turret over and get the shots off, but Kobleon just had to go over the hill, and his skill and more experience perhaps coming into play, winning in that fight. He has to retreat now as Makizior's going to come up from behind. He perhaps will be able to take him down. No, he doesn't. He's retreating, missing his first shot of the game. It would have been disastrous if he came around and found the whole of Kazna crew there, but it was worth the risk for taking out T1.
Yeah, indeed. So well worth that little exchange early on. Cobra Leone still standing nevertheless and retreating, as you said, or backing away there, allowing a little bit more control for that hillside to go into the hands of Team WD, but nevertheless retaining their full lineup. So no drops as of yet. You can see a couple of damages being dealt there. Narlum just down to 45 HP in the T1. We saw Hyber getting damaged earlier on, but the likes of Still Mojo in that IS-3 retaining that full HP, as well as Veko and the others just playing a little bit more passively now. But yet they're more focusing towards that northwest side of the map now, really kind of lining up on those track lines, maybe starting to make their move, it seems.
Yeah, perhaps they've definitely got some ideas brewing in their heads. Western Digital also moving a little bit. We could see Nichols Black also pushing forwards in his IS-3. He's got the support of Jagus Medv in his IS-3 as well, and David's over there in his T1. Dark Dawn being spotted straight out in his IS-3 by Mr. Chef playing his AMX 5100. You know, I think Kazna crew, they don't like to play as offensively as some teams, that's for sure. You know, not as defensively as quite a lot of others, but they kind of like to, you know, they like assessing the situation for a while, for at least 3 or 4, perhaps 5 minutes, and then making a really clever push onto teams as opposed to just charging straight in like, you know, Spale or something.
Yeah. Well, Runes has found the first kill. They're taking down that T1 that David was sitting in towards the one line. Now, Dark Dawn coming in with a shell of his own to Mr. Chef as well, who got damaged earlier by Hyber. So that IS-3 work coming out from Dark Dawn is just absolutely beautiful right there. And now more fire being put down. You can see the rest of the Kazna crew now making their way up all the way down that 2-line, focusing down towards Mr. Chef. But will they expect that IS-3 combo waiting for them? This could be a real tricky situation now.
Yeah, I think they probably realize they have a couple of tanks behind here. Runes can push forwards without too much trouble, obviously. He's got an AMX 5100 here, but he's probably reloading, and obviously Mr. Chef down to 421, so how much help he's going to be in a firefight is questionable. He's got to stay back a bit. He's got to make sure that he doesn't get focused down, otherwise that will be a huge, huge loss in both of HP and firepower for WD. As Nelim's pushing forwards, he want to try and get the spots out in his T1. He doesn't have to worry too much about getting killed, because obviously the T1 of WD is right over here, and you're not going to really see one of their main tanks push out into the middle of the open and get themselves focused down.
No, definitely not. Runes not too far behind Narlum there. You can see him just kind of backing him up. He already got that T1 down after the spot came in from Narlum. So really working it well as a complete team here. I love watching these guys play. When they do play properly, they show you some damn good work. So we just get to see what really breaks the silence now. Kazna have really put all their eggs in one basket, just trying to find a way through, find a way in, allowing that T1 work from Narlum to hopefully give them a chance. A couple of spots here and there would really help them out. But at the moment, they're just playing it smart, playing it careful. They don't need to rush this. There's still just under 5 minutes on the clock. So they've got time, but it's just where they want to make that move. Dark Dawn again left a couple of shells. No real connection, though. So these guys, they don't have to rush it right now, though. They're happy taking their time.
No, Rune's doing all the plays at the moment. He's trying to get forwards. He's trying to connect the shells. He is actually, I mean, taking down Mr. Chef to 421. He just connected a shell onto 505, taking him down to 109.98. And obviously, Still Mojo taking down Caxa 1. So that will be all of Western Digital's. T1's gone. That's we've seen how important those tanks are on maps
Very
like
much
Himmelsdorf.
so.
They can put the pressure on the cap. They can get behind tanks, spot tanks. Keep whole flanks lit up for their team. And without those two, it's going to be really hard, especially from an assertive, especially from a split up push from Kazna crew.
Yeah, indeed. And I'm watching Runes just back and forthing here. Hyber is actually pushing up all the way across the middle. Look at that. He's right through the center of the map. Very aggressive play. And we do see a player joining him as well. That'll be Still Mojo coming across in that IS-3. So not completely, blinkered down towards that 2-line. They're happy to spread out now, trying to work out and just pinpoint exactly where these players are. And they're going to have a rude awakening if they make their way around this corner. Still Mojo is edging across as well as Hyber. Hyber now peering through. They have a glimpse of that IS-3. And I think they might actually get a good couple of shells off here in due time. And I think they're about to do that right now. Good connection coming through. 3 shells back to back. Hyber landing them perfectly. Only 28 HP left on that IS-3. And he is taken down. This is looking very nice for Kazna right now.
Yeah, now this IS-3 is in trouble. MX-51 are just going to try and back him up. Mikizior's getting himself in the action. Veko's down to 974. No, I'm correct myself, down to 645. But Dark Dawn's really doing the damage. He's connecting the shells on the IS-3. He's got to be careful. He's got to get himself out of there, as 505 is also getting himself into the fight.
Yeah, indeed. Back and forth we go. Nevertheless, Cobra alone has taken down Mr. Chef. And there follows another one of the WD side who are being picked apart, leaving only 2 alive. This looks like it's going completely in the way of Kazna crew. And I think the first map is pretty much in their hands right now. There's that last player down. And that is a lovely game start for Kazna crew there. Fantastic play out of that one.
Yeah, I was just saying, you know, they're a team that really takes their time. They really make sure that they get their pushes right. They really think about it. As I said, you know, it could be 4, 5, 6 minutes that we see Kazna crew pushing. But when they do, so smart. We saw, you know, the AMX5100 and the T69 come from behind, take out the most vulnerable IS3. Okay, then we'll push our 2 IS3s into the middle. We'll engage those IS3s. We'll hope that one of the AMX5100 moves out of position. Obviously, they did, as well as that T69, 505 and Makizio. And then it was all game over because they could push the AMX5100s behind. So clever, smart play by Kazna crew. What would you expect from our 4th, 3rd place holder even?
Yeah, exactly. Showing their true class. Obviously, if you saw them in the first season, you'd be like, wow, these guys have really stepped up. They're almost a different side. You know, it's really working into their hands. They're playing very smart. That's what I like to see, perfectly executed as well. I don't know if they even lost a member then. I think they may have lost 1. But that is it. And that is highly impressive to do something like that. To the likes of Team WD, who already beat them once before. Got to keep that in mind. On paper, Team WD should, you know, be really challenging here. But right now, they look like they were, you know, sitting in the passenger seat then, and you know, Kazna crew were driving that game the entirety of the way. So do let us know what you think the outcome of this game will be, because right now on paper it should be Team WD's, but you know, overall Kazna crew have really stepped up recently. It's going to be a hard one to call. Personally, you know where I'm going to go with this. I love the Kazna crew guys. I love the way they play. They perfectly execute strats, which, you know, it's hard to do, especially because you never know what you're coming up against. You've always got to adapt on the fly. You know, one tank out of a certain position could really catch you off. But they always seem to handle it well. Where's your predictions for this one? Who are you backing on this?
Well, you know, Kazna crew did beat them previously on Himmelsdorf, so, you know, that kind of, we almost expected them to, but
yeah, true.
Western Digital, you know, they're going to have to really get back into this game. They got completely stomped then. And, you know, we say Himmelsdorf is a little bit different from most of the maps, and teams that win on Himmelsdorf sometimes don't win on the other maps. I mean, WoT, for instance, really a team that wins on that map. But now we're on to Abbey. It's such a tricky map. So many different possibilities, so many different strats. You know, do we have the MX5100 even there? So in terms of tank picking, do we have the T71 in there? T69, MX3090, composition changes. It's going to be an interesting one. I think this could go 1-1.
It could very well do. But we are going to get into the tank picking right now. So obviously you said that there can be some interesting compositions coming out. So far, anything jumping out at you, or what we'd expect to see? I'm looking to see Hyber in that T69 personally. After seeing him the first time on Abbey, when he was absolutely dominant right in that central of the map. It's fantastic play. I expect him to pick the same, but you never know. What are we seeing so far here? Well,
we're not going to see anything too unusual at the beginning of the tank picks. Obviously, if you're a team, you want to be picking your surprise tank right at the end, because you know it's like the last tank. You know, you don't want to give it away, your strategy away at the beginning. So we do see we're not seeing anything too unusual. The MX3090s from both teams, T69s from both teams, and obviously they're picking their 2 T1s straight at the beginning. So we probably won't see a T71 in there, but yeah, we see Kazna crew. Their 3rd pick will be an MX3090 and an MX5100. So going for that more firepower-orientated tank, probably wanting to push over towards perhaps the mountainside, you know, get into that engagement, which they will probably win if they do anything like they did in Himmelsdorf. Well, WD going for the same, actually, MX3090, MX5100. Last pick from Kazna crew and WD will be the AMX3090. So pretty standard lineups. Pretty much the same on both teams. WD picking triple MX3090, T69, MX5100, and then there's 2 T1s to back them up. While Kazna taking the triple MX3090, MX5100, double T1, T69. So mirrored lineup.
Yeah, indeed. So it will really come down to that individual play coming out from these players. Who plays that tank a little bit better in the situation, and obviously the team composition and how they kind of gel together. I think they're just going to have a quick chat between themselves and make sure mentally they're in the right way to take this on. Obviously, Team WD now need to pick this one back up and kind of pick up where they left off in the first time they met up. You know, they can't allow this to slip away from them. We said it before. These guys, you know, they're struggling on the league at the moment. You know, they're losing a lot of games, and they shouldn't be. They should be, you know, picking these up already and really running with it, but they're not. So it's time to turn that round. Kazna crew are not the easiest team to do it against, but it'd certainly make a statement here. Now, what sort of play do you think we're going to see coming out of these guys? As you said, it's almost mirrored pick coming out. How do you think they're going to face off differently? Because they're two very different teams. But is there anything going to really stand out for one side here, or is it just they could just completely switch up as soon as we get in the game?
I mean, you mentioned it. Kazna is one of those teams that like the middle play. They do like using T69 there. So perhaps that may be a difference, obviously, from the southern spawn. You can't really go to the middle that easily, while the northern spawn, you can kind of get and weave your way up there. But, I said, we could possibly see big engagement towards the mountainside. I'm not sure why teams have started doing that more often. It was something that happened a lot ages ago back, but that was when we had like T32s and more IS3s. So it was obviously a slower lineup. You don't want to be driving around the whole map and possibly getting a draw in there. But I think WD will send their AMX 3090s perhaps up the middle, or an AMX 3090 and a T69, and the same goes for Kazna crew. While both teams send their AMX 5100s and their remaining AMX 3090s up to the mountainside. But I think interestingly enough, these two teams, they fought on every other map. Our first map was Himmelsdorf. They fought on that before, and obviously Kazna crew won on both occasions. But from now on until pretty much map 4, these teams haven't fought on. So we can pretty much wipe that first score out and completely reset ourselves, because we're on different maps, and this is going to be about which team is better on those maps. And obviously some teams are better on someone, and obviously some are better on other ones. So I think that's an interesting point, and something that could be really, really key as we go into the second game.
Yeah, we're going to have to find out. Because obviously, Huns won on Ensk, and I believe it was Mines eventually they won on as well. So, that suits them. I don't know if Abbey really reciprocates any similarities between those maps, but it's certainly not a Himmelsdorf. So it's kind of a up in the air one. It's certainly just going to come down to how these guys have prepared for it more than anything. And while we know Kazna crew do like to prepare, and they do, keep things, in the bag as such, and then pull out some crazy stuff. But we are going to be going live into Abbey here. This could be a defining map for either side. So welcome to the one and only Abbey. We will be seeing the north side, the blue team, being populated by the one and only Kazna crew, whereas in the south spawn, it will be Team WD. Now, Team WD already down a map. They've got to turn it around, and this could be the very map. It's not an easy one. It's a very tricky map to conquer. We've seen some fantastic play from the Kazna crew before on this one, especially Hyber, as I said before. But he doesn't have that T69. He's gone for that 1390, so already a bit of a variation coming in. But what are we seeing so far here?
Well, Team WD are doing something a little bit unusual. We haven't seen this much. They've put their AMX 5100 and T69 to defend the kind of middle road. They don't want a cheesy push like we saw from GF Gaming through that middle area, coming around to take down the T69s. That's a good counter for that. They're sending their double AMX 1390 straight up to the middle. I did say that it's quite unusual for teams to do this, but they've obviously gone for it, screwing me over completely, and they can engage straight away here onto Hyber.
Yeah, he's having to back out of that situation. Good early exchange, almost, symmetrical damage done, but they're really on the hunt now. Hyber is on the back foot. He's having to get the hell out of there, getting away as fast as he can, dodging those shells coming in at the absolute speed of light right now. He's got two players beside him. He's got to get out there somehow and get his teammates to help him out. He's got to stay alive. To lose him so early on is going to be so damaging, but he seems to have got out okay. He's going to reposition, try and find a safer place to be, allow Cobra Leone to keep eyes on those players if he can, and he's doing just that.
Yeah, indeed. Team WD obviously watching some of the replays back, because they can see Kazna crew is all the way over to the mountainside, unable to help Hyber in the middle. But Hyber, very good player, probably the worst person you want to push onto because he'll get the hell out of there. He knows exactly what he's doing. That's what he's done. He's not going to hang about for anyone. So, Team WD in a little bit of trouble. They got two MX 1390s out of position now. They're not particularly safe. They can't really go back without perhaps exposing their backsides to those whole of Kazna crew pretty much on the side. And then we've got Cobra Leone doing the damage, taking at least 70 health off Nichols back in his AMX 1390. He's going to have to get over there. But now he's in the middle. He could get focused down. There we go. The first shell connecting 327, and I think he's going to get at least a couple. He's down to 158, and this could be the first blood for Kazna crew.
Fantastic play from Kazna crew. They're baiting him out into that So brave from Kobelerion, but that just paid off. And now Veko and Hyber moving in for the kill.
Yeah, this is going to be end of day, so Nichols Black, no problem at all. Veko, he did take one, he's down to 826, and Hyber's down to 839 from obviously that previous engagement. But losing an AMX 1390 for pretty much no damage at all, okay, like 400 damage, is pretty much disastrous for Team WD, especially at this early stage. We're only 2 minutes and 40 seconds into the game.
Wow, what a way to start things off. Just Kazna Crew showing how good they are at dealing with that. You know, any sort of early advantage that, well, I thought Team WD had then. I thought, you know, they'd outplayed them there. They'd caught Hyber off guard, they got some good damage down, but then switch. Instantly, Kobelerion just baiting it out, you know, literally playing the bravest game he can do almost, of being, you know, literally the target, making sure that, you know, the other side showed themselves, and now he's going back in again, laying down those shells, and now here comes Hyber and Veko. It's like, you know, the big brothers finally turn up after the little one mouths off at them, and there come the shells raining in. This is such a brilliant bit of play. They've got to be careful, though. They are receiving some fire back, but they're in control of the situation unless Veko does get tracked and just stays a little bit overexposed then.
Yeah, but the thing is, Mr. Chef, the team leader of WD, he's got himself into a little bit of a pickle. He's stuck here pretty much. I mean, there's no other way to put it. He's gone off the cliff and he's just driven himself into a stairway, I guess it is. So pretty much game over for him. I mean, he's down to 39 HP. Jaggers is trying to get in there. Runes will finish him off. And now we can see Jaggers, Medivh, getting himself stuck there as well. I believe he has. He can't reverse out of there.
Wow.
And this is just disastrous for Team WD. I mean, I'm not sure what they're doing, but it's pretty hilarious.
Jesus, that is the worst way to play this one out. Runes is enjoying it, just sniping him off from far away, laying down those shells, taking him down to 101. He will be Hyber to finish him off. But even, you know, Team WD right now are saying, lol, I think we made a bit of a mistake there, sad face. Even Hyber feels guilty about taking him out. That was like shooting fish in a barrel. They couldn't move anywhere. Poor positioning, it can cost you a game. Now looking at what's left beside the Team WD, it's not looking good. 2 T1s and a couple of big boys, but that's about your lot. Both stop epic.
Yeah,
1390 driving.
Yeah, really.
Ouch, that's not good. Every time we see this map, it always kind of goes down this way. We've seen Runes obviously deciding to jump off a cliff before, and that was Kazna Crew for once actually making the mistake, but just look at the advantage they now have. There's nothing else you can say to it. No,
I mean, you can't really come back from that, especially against Kazna Crew. I mean, it's hard to win against them, you know, with all your tanks not getting themselves stuck and throwing themselves off stuff. But when you do it, it's pretty much impossible. I mean, WD, if it's going to happen on any map, fair enough, it's going to happen on Abbey. I mean, we do say it's such a complicated map. It's got so many elements. If you even drive like a couple of centimeters the wrong way in these kind of you know, physical situations when you're using physics to your benefit, trying to get into good positions, then this is what can happen. I mean, tiny little mistake, that a little bit of a lapse of concentration, boom, you got yourself stuck. We've seen it before and we'll probably see it again. But we didn't expect it from teams that probably train so hard. You know, they're training all the time. Maybe they're just a bit nervous at this point.
Yeah, so we do see a little T1 exchange here. David and Still Mojo going at it. And it will be Still Mojo to come out the victor of that little battle. Runes wasn't too far behind to back him up in case he needed help there. And now it's almost the final push for Team WD with not much left around them. You know, all their firepower has been stripped away, leaving very little alive. And it feels as though Kazna Crew are in firm control. Unless something magical happens, if somehow Team WD can dig deep enough, this game is slipping through their fingers. So Hyber finding the remaining T1, and now only 2 stand.
And the MX-51 just going to have to try and pray to the gods that he doesn't get completely blown away by Hyber and Runes in those 2 MX-1390s. But he's on his own, so it's pretty much game over for him. He just gets connected by Runes. Taking him down to 1189, 211 damage. Good shot from him. He's going to get surrounded by Palauda. There comes Nelly, and there comes... also, we've got Veko in there. No, Hyber even. And look at that damage those 3 tanks can do. Taking down to 295 in a matter of seconds before finally Nalum and that T69 does the finishing blow. And, you know, only Mikizio left in his T69. You know, I'm not sure there's much he can do at this point.
Yeah, I feel for him. He's got the hungry Kazna Crew after him right now. He's been spotted finally. Runes has caught a glimpse, and Rune's been absolutely on fire this game, as well as Hyber once again. The base is being captured. And, you know, I'd love him to get a kill here, and he might actually catch Runes off guard, but it will certainly not be without some sort of repercussions coming from the Kazna Crew. Taking down to 4-6-5. He's saying, well, his Runes is reloading. He's going to try and get out of there, but here come Hyber and Palauda. The game is almost over, and there we have it. Kazna Crew looking extremely strong here on Abby. They have won this one. And wow, another firm victory for Kazna crew. That was, I feel almost unlucky for Team WD there. They lost 2 tanks as such to a mistake, but mistakes can happen. And when, you know, if you allow it to happen, teams like Kazna crew will not leave it to go unpunished.
Yeah.
These guys will be there, and straight away they were. They did not allow them a second to breathe to get out of that. And that initial play just showed so much class to me. Obviously, we saw the early kind of exchange happening, a bit of an even kind of back and forth with the damage. I can't say his name, Cobra Leone in that T1. There we go, I got it eventually. You know, baiting himself out almost to allow, you know, Veko and Hyber to come around and do the damage. He put himself in a dangerous position to reap the benefits, and that takes a lot of guts and a lot of faith in your teammates. And I'm loving that play from Kazna crew right there.
Yeah, great play from them. You know, I kind of almost want to replay that game, though, because I want to see, you know, without guys getting stuck and throwing themselves off stuff.
I agree.
Just so we can see
agree.
who's the better, you know, perhaps the better team on that one. I mean, Kazna crew did look so strong that an early play did suggest that they were the better team.
But then
we had that huge mistake. Not one mistake, 2 mistakes, both AMX 3090s. I mean, it was almost comical how they both got themselves stuck. But we are moving on to Prokhorovka. You know, these teams haven't met on this map before. But, you know, Team WD lost against Kazna crew in that previous engagement on match 4. You know, they lost it on steps, which is a pretty similar map to Prokhorovka in a lot of respects. So just based on that, I guess you can kind of draw parallels that they could perhaps lose this one as well. But, you know, Kazna crew need one more win. Yeah, they only need one more win. And, you know, Team WD does not want to lose 3-0 on this.
They can't. Looking at the rankings, check them out, WoTProLeague.com. These guys are literally on the verge of almost letting this slip away from them. And they're a team who looks so strong. They've got a fantastic organization behind them. They can't let it go now. They need to turn this one around. They are going to get the tank picking underway. So let's see what they've got in store for us here on Prokhorovka. Anything you think is going to come out here that's going to go, you know, shock and awe, or is this them, you know, they're going to have to play this one very seriously, very, you know, down to, you know, the tactics they have. I don't think we're going to see much kind of surprising us here, but what are we looking at the moment?
Well, I think Kazna crew wants a clean slate. I don't think they want to do anything too you know, don't want to throw themselves out there. Team WD also, you know, maybe if they were 2-0 up or even 1-1, or, you know, then they might take something a bit unusual. But if they're 2-0 down at this point, then they certainly don't want to throw themselves out there. But, you know, both teams are opting for a WZ 1-3-2. Which is
we're seeing it a lot more at the moment. It doesn't feel as though it's that, whoa, what are they doing kind of pick, you know what I mean? It seems it's kind of that, it's a little bit curious, but, you know, we've seen people do very well with it. I don't think it's, you know, a massive thing anymore. I think a lot of teams are, you know, showing why they pick it, but, you know, it's nice seeing a little bit more variation, especially, you know, this far into Season 2. It's not easy to switch things up, but, you know, they're doing it. They're willing to try it out. It shows how much these guys are playing clearly in between the games. You know, there's the go forward, you know, what going on. These guys are trying out everything they can to, you know, hopefully get an edge, to somehow find a little bit of an advantage here and there. Maybe that tank really suits one of their players. Who do you think is going to be working with that WZ-132 there?
Well, Mikizio is going to be playing that one from the side of WD. It looks like Hyber, the Kazna crew star player, is going to be playing it for, obviously, Kazna crew. But they are, you know, getting themselves sorted. Tank picking has finished. WD's gone for the double AMX 1390, double T69, double T1, obviously, that Tier 8 Chinese medium tank backing up the WZ-132. Kazna crew going for pretty much the same as well, double AMX 1390. Double T69, double T1 as well. So mirrored pick, it's, you know, it's strange. It's been 3 mirrored picks. We don't usually see that. We usually see, you know, at least one game with a kind of a different composition. But, you know, I think this is kind of what has happened in 8.6. You know, without artillery, without scouts, mirror picks are coming all the more common, which I quite like because, as you said, you know, it's about skill, it's about strategy as opposed to, you know, picking some random cheesy tank.
Yeah, I quite enjoy it. It's a nice thing to see the purity of, you know, the players' abilities coming out. I think Kazna crew are ready. We just have to wait on Team WD. I think they just had a little bit of a break there just to try and, you know, recuperate. Obviously, this could be the downfall of absolutely everything. We are going to be going into Prokhorovka right now. It's the defining map. It's going to be huge. So welcome to the third map here. It will be Prokhorovka. We've seen the first two maps fall in favor to the Kazna crew, sitting on that third position at the moment in the league. They will be starting on that south side, blue colors, whereas the yellow color will be populated by Team WD, who need to turn this one around. This is their moment. This is the linchpin of their game, of possibly their season. You said it can be a downward spiral. This could be the very start of a very slippery slope here. But what are we seeing early on from these guys?
Well, they're going for the standard tactic, pushing a lot of their main firepower towards the left side, towards the road slash tree slash bush area. Going quite aggressive, especially with Mr. Chef and the AMX-3090. Yeah, they pushed him quite far forwards. He's going to try and get some early spots out. Obviously, Nalom in that T69 from Kazna crew has been spotted straight off the bat. So 505 doing a good job in that AMX-3090. But, as you said, WD really needs to come back into this one. You really need to stamp down, because, we've seen it quite a lot before. Teams have come back from going 2-0 down and won 3-2. And if they're going to do it, they have to win this match.
Yeah, it's now or never for these guys. There's no second chances when it comes to this point. So we do see, obviously, the Kazna crew, they're just populating themselves, or just kind of sitting around that 2-3F line, using that defilade of the hill just to make sure, they're not overly peering out and, showing too much of themselves. That's Paluda there, Nalom, and I think Hyber wasn't too far behind yet. He's just over to the left with Koblenrion, who I cannot say the name of. Manila, that AMX-1390, just teasing them over the hill as such. Just position himself behind the rock and then darting back again. Just keeping them on their toes. Nothing too much, though. But we see, obviously, quite an easy start for the Kazna crew. The T1s and the 3090 left back by the flag. It's Runes to kind of play almost the sniper as such for the team. He always sits back and does the damage from a little bit further back, and it lands very nicely. We saw on Abby paying off quite heavily as well. But I'm just trying to find out when this kind of game's going to break. We do see the T1 being found there. And actually, it's Team WD to get the early advantage. Velko quickly coming back into that and destroying the opposing T1 back and forth. But just losing two T1s. It's not a huge deal, but it could be, the match to the fire as such, to start things off here.
Yeah, you can see these two T69s push forwards a little bit. Paluda and Hyber being spotted, the T69, the WD 132. And, this would be a very risky move a month ago, maybe even 3 weeks ago. But now they can do it quite comfortably. Kazna crew surprisingly not having anything to connect some shells onto their turrets. The T69, it's not the strongest tank. It could easily get blown up very quickly. Quite a low HP pool. But, both teams, they're probing forwards. Also, WD do look a little bit more aggressive. Kazna crew, as you said, in that defilade, in that depression. Well, WD, they have the higher ground. They have the advantage at this point.
Gonna have to see if they can play to it. That's the big thing right now. Ball is in their court as such, and it's just down to them to really execute this one. And I want to see them do it. I want to see this go further now. Because Kazna crew, I don't feel they've been pushed yet. I think that, the games have kind of fallen in their favor. The first map was always going to be theirs. On paper even, it should have been theirs. But now this could go the other way. Team WD, I saw a shell coming across, then it didn't connect. So we retain this, quite not a stalemate as such, but it's just a little bit, teasing almost, back and forth, showing a touch and then backing away as well. But we do see, a little bit of movement here and there. We see that T1 splitting off. It will be still Mojo, just makes his way through that little kind of village towards that 8 line, trying to get a little spot out here and there just to work out where the rest of the side obviously are. And they don't have full knowledge, Kazna crew, right now. They've been trying to get the early connections, but nothing really happening. It's very much a tease at the moment between these two teams.
Yeah, and still Mojo could get taken out here. We got Mr. Chef in his AMX-1390. He's towards that area. He has actually spotted out Steel Mojo, so he'll get taken out very quickly. But the question is, Kazna, can they use that information? Steel Mojo will actually get taken out. He's trying to jump off a cliff, but not quite quick enough. But Mr. Chef getting back straight to his team. He doesn't want to give Kazna crew that opportunity to push, as they will know he's out of position and he maybe not be able to support his team. But no, he's going to reverse and go straight back to his original position. Now he's unspotted.
Yeah, Hyber, he got a little bit overzealous then. He peered up a touch. A shell came whizzing past him and he got back down again. He, as you said, he almost took the advantage of knowing that player was out of position, but he didn't want to go for it eventually. And we do see a player just splitting off there as David in that T1 just getting out of there. Paluda laying down some shells. No connection still. And there we get it. Hyber will not miss that one. But once again, it's drawing the attention away from the vast majority of Team WD. Maybe they could start forming a bit of a move here, but we do see the Kazna crew guys just lining up now. It looks a bit like the Flying V if you look at the mini-map, if you do know the Mighty Ducks. Just positioning themselves ready to possibly make a push here.
Yeah, but I think that was WD's mistake. They took down Silmojo, and obviously before Cobra Leone in that T1, so there was 2 T1s down. They still had a T1 left, and they kind of threw him away a little bit. He got himself out of position and taken down very quickly. Mr. Chef took 2 shells, replying with one onto Pilauda. He actually managed to bounce his 3rd one, so lucky him. And now he's just going to have to retreat. But, good exchange. Really, really good exchange. Hyber getting dropped down real low. 120 left on his T69. Great sniping both for WD. And they certainly have the HP advantage. And Nalum's now in trouble.
Yeah, indeed. This is slipping away from Kazna crew. This could be exactly what Team WD need. And, well, Nalum receives another shell. Rune's now getting into the battle, charging straight forward, not messing about at all. Bringing the attention straight towards him. He does receive 1 shell, knocking him to 8-5-2 already. Finally, Veko comes up to try and help them out, try and lay down some shells as well and split up the Team WD side. If the Kazna crew can turn this one around, they deserve this, because right now, Team WD have such a firm up high and great shell connection from Nalum there. Taking Marchira's just right down to 8-2-7s. They're working it back.
Yeah, but unfortunately, WD haven't taken the advantage now. Neko just gets blown up as I say that. But in my opinion, Team WD should have gone forward. They shouldn't have lost this tank here.
My God.
Rune's just taking a lot of damage down to 115. But he did take down, Veko in this AMX 1390. So, no, not Veko, 505 even. But, I think WD a bit timid. They should have pushed around on the Kazna crew, taking those 2 tanks out immediately, as opposed to just waiting for 505 to be the bait.
Yeah, but right now, Kazna crew are surrounded with a player disadvantage, 3v4. Nalum at only 119 HP. Paluda looking pretty healthy right now in that T69. It's going to be a tough situation. Team WD are literally around them right now. You can see them moving in on the minimap. They're just completely and utterly roping them in. And, well, this is going to be a tough situation to get out of. With only 3 minutes on the board, I do not know what Kazna crew can do right here.
There's not much they can do at all. You see WD slowly starting to push in. We've got Mikizio on that WZ132 to provide the real firepower. Mr. Chef's going to come in. He will actually, Jaeger Smedev will take down Nala. Now it's Palauda on his own.
Yeah, Palauda trying to tank the damage as such. He does find 1 onto Jaegs there, but now does get taken out. But Hyber retracted back to try and snipe, but it's just not paid off at all. Fire now coming in. It looks like this could be the game that Team WD needed to get in the bag, and that is it. They've actually got a map there, and they've saved themselves at the very last moment. Thank God they managed it. That was literally so close, and I thought that, the Kazna crew could have turned it. I thought it was slipping away from them. There was a couple of moments they didn't engage on. They played a little bit passively, and I was like, come on, guys, this is your moment. You've got to really take it right now. But actually, they retained that. They held back. They took down the Kazna crew 1 by 1. They allowed Hyber to go back and, obviously snipe it out a little bit and try and get the shells down. Did not pay off, and they got the map. Thank God for that. I want to see more from them doing that. That
was good play, especially from Mr. Chef and that MX 1390.
Sure.
He pretty much won them the game on his own. I mean, you could see him going up that train line, pushing forward to the middle, and then that kind of attracted Kazna crew, like a light to flies. They kind of went forward. They were like, oh, I want that AMX 1390. It's so juicy and soft. And then boom, the whole of WD away in their MX 1390s, T69, even Makizio and the WZ132 to just punish a greedy Kazna crew. And they lost so much health. I mean, Hyber got blown up in the MX 1390 down to 120. And then from that time out, that was too much of a mistake. WD didn't play it perfectly. I think they should have really concentrated their tankers instead of waiting for them to lose a 505 in that MX 1390. But still, it was too much of a mistake for Kazna crew to come back from. And WD, they played it well. They played it pretty decently. And good game for them, 2-1.
Yes, it felt a bit tentative, but nevertheless, hopefully that's the building blocks towards the next map, which will be Ruinberg. Now, we will be getting the tank picks underway already. These guys are raring to go, so not holding back for a second here. And what do you think we're going to see here on Ruinberg? Obviously, it's a more city-based map. We saw earlier on that clearly Kazna crew were more favorited towards that. They played extremely well. Do you think that's going to fall in their favor here, or do you think they might get a little bit complacent?
I don't know. I think this is a map that WD have won before, and I think they could do it here again. But looking back at Himmelsdorf, you can draw parallels between Himmelsdorf and Ruinberg. Obviously, Ruinberg has the more green zone, and it's quite hard to play. True. But still, there's so much city elements to it that you would expect the Kazna crew to win. But we go into tank picking T1 from T69 for Kazna crew, double T1 for WD, quite an interesting pick. You don't usually see 2 T1s being picked from the get-go because it kind of gives away the fact that you're only going to use tier 8s. Kazna crew picking a T1 and AMX 5100, so standard pick so far. WD also picking that AMX 5100, also going for the T69. Kazna crew opting for the really fast lineup as well. They got another AMX 1390 in there, T69. So good stuff from them so far. But, you know, both teams going for those pretty standard setups for that firepower, for the speed, for the middle spot. MX 5100, if they can play it properly, for the real firepower, to really back those 2 tanks up. And WD looks like they're actually going to take 2 MX 5100s, as I say that, they go back to Garage. But perhaps that will be an interesting move from them. They will be spawning south, while Kazna will be spawning north. I think from the south, it's quite hard to play the MX 5100 because, you know, you've got to drive across a massive open field, and we've seen it so many times, spots in the middle, and, you know, as soon as he gets spotted, he gets blown away completely. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can really play that and how they can get those into the game. The last pick from Kazna Crew will
it's
be
a new
MX
name we're working with.
Yeah, it's a new name. MX 1390 with their last pick. WD, I think, also will go for either T69 or an MX 1390.
Not bad picks all around, but just going to have to once again see how it's played. It's all down to the player. As much as we can go into the picture, certain players can really shine on one tank, whereas, you know, in the next game they might not as much. But nevertheless, it is almost, you know, getting to that point where Kazna crew are still on match point. You know, they've still got 2 maps in the bag. Team WD have turned it around. They've got 1. They still need, you know, a good couple more to get themselves back into this. And what do you think the chances are on Ruinberg of all maps? I
think, you know, WD has a good chance here. They have beaten Kazna crew on this map before. I think they're a pretty good team in terms of coordination. You know, I think they lack a bit of execution and perhaps a little bit of, you know, decisiveness in some respects. Like we saw, you know, they're a bit passive. But, you know, I think they're good on Ruinberg. I think, you know, their coordination will be the most key thing for them to get themselves back and take that score to 2-all. The last pick from WD, I believe, will be an AMX 5100, as 505 and Makizio have picked 1 each. And there we go, Mr. Chef from WD picking that AMX 5100. So both teams, pretty similar lineups, although WD going for the double AMX 5100, T69 times 2, and an AMX 1390. But we're ready to go into Ruinberg.
So, welcome to Ruinberg, the 4th map we are seeing right now. The first 2 fell truly in favour to Kazna crew, but there was a changing point. And we saw it on the last map there. So we will be seeing Kazna crew starting on that north side in blue, whereas in that golden yellow, hopefully Team WD can turn it around now and keep bringing exactly what we saw on the last map. Now, what are we seeing early on from these two? Does it look a similar start here as such?
Yeah, well, I was talking about those AMX 51, just how tricky their job is to get across the open field. They're going for the most kind of safe way possible, I guess. Makizio and 505, the AMX 51, just pushing right towards the, you know, can't get any closer to the red line at the moment. So they're desperate not to get caught out by perhaps Runes in his AMX 1390. And there we go, he's in the middle. Plowder's also there to back him up. Mr. Chef has gone quite far forwards. He's on his own at the moment. We can see Jägers and Nichols Black even sitting there in their T69s, ready to back him up, ready to give him any support he thus requires. You know, I think now for WD, it's all about how can they get the MX 5100 in position, because they have 2 of them. Kazna only has 1 of them, and I think, you know, that difference could really play into the hands, or it could go disastrously wrong.
Going to have to see if that is the defining factor right now. Rune's doing his usual scouting-esque job there, just trying to keep eyes on. As you said, they're playing quite passively to avoid being spotted, and that might pay off. But you can see how, you know, far pushed up in comparison, you know, Kazna crew to Team WD, you know, playing it a little bit differently here, playing, you know, their own personality as such, and just trying to play out properly. Runes still just trying to edge around. No one giving the game away early on, though. They want to play this one right, as I think Team WD realize how important this is. The first spot has been made. It is David there in that T1. Runes catching a glimpse just around the corner. Just going to back away, though. He doesn't need to immediately engage. He just needs to slowly but surely work down exactly where these guys are and just play it smart and play it correctly. Because, you know, Kazna crew need this as well. They're on match point here. They, you know, if they want to play this out, you know, fine. You know, take it to another map. But if they want a good victory, if they want the points to look good, if they want to keep up that nice score line that they have right now, this is what they want to be doing. So, Mr. Chef does show his face finally. Runes has to get away, as you can see that T69 as well. So, slowly edging away at the secrecy that Team WD started with.
Yeah, but, you know, David being spotted is a good thing for WD, I think. You know, initially I thought maybe, okay, Kazna crew know David's there, then maybe they'll be able to take him out, but he's pretty safe. But, you know, now Kazna crew know he's there, they can't really push onto them without getting spotted, which is really good because WD have the AMX5100s there, so they won't be able to get caught out, they won't be able to get blown out in the middle of the field, which they pretty much are. So that's a good thing for WD. They can push them in without worrying too much about Kazna crew. But, you know, it's the middle engagements. We've seen so many teams play Rurenberg, like, pretty badly, I think, as David does actually get taken out. So that advantage I was talking about being completely blown away for W at this point. Good play from Kazna crew. David, you know, he is like a millimeter. He inched out a millimeter and he got blown up. And that's the kind of mistakes you can't make.
Yeah, indeed. You give them an inch and they'll take a mile right now. It's match point. It all comes down to, you know, moments like this. We do see a shell connecting onto Still Mojo on that T69. As you said, they are in the open field. They do have a slight advantage. So Still Mojo there just having to back away a little bit. Knocked down to 1-1-1-4. Not a massive connection, but, you know, we've seen it come down to moments where it literally can be that one-shot difference.
Yeah, indeed. It's happened so many times before, and you know you kick yourself when you make mistakes like that. When you just lose HP randomly at the beginning because you got a bit of complacent. You know, you're 3 or 4 minutes into the game, and you end up losing because of that. You just, you know, like, why did I do that? Why did I go forwards? And you know, WoT Pro, Team Dignitas, you know, Mouse Sports, you know, Kazna crew, even Evil Panda Squad, they don't make those mistakes anymore. They're very, you know, laid back, you know, that they make sure every move they do is very intentional, very thought through, very clever, and it's all done to a T. You know, it's drilled through. They've done the trainings, they've done the research. So that's the difference between, you know, perhaps the teams at the top of the table and the bottom of the table. But not only that, you know, the teams that proved themselves in previous season. Very true. Obviously, we talked about the patch changes and stuff. Some teams go up, some teams go down, depending on that. But Kazna crew starting to make a couple of plays here.
Yeah, Hyber's splitting off towards that city section, just trying to scout out exactly where the remains may be of the opposition, because they still haven't seen much of the opposition. I've got to say, they've caught a couple of glimpses, but that's pretty much a lot with them, and they've been playing it very close to their chest at the moment. The Team WD side do not want to give away too much, and that's exactly what they're doing. You know, and obviously Hyber's getting a little bit edgy there. He wants to find out where they are. Shell has connected onto Mr. Chef in that 1390. And as soon as Kazna crew get a glimpse, they take the shot and it lands. And they're just working them down now. They've got to be careful not to let this slip too far away and, you know, keep receiving damage, because that's how Kazna will get the advantage. And Runes might get another shell off here. I'm not sure if he's going to go for it.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, WD
there we go.
Another shell connecting. 633 left on this AMX 3090. You know, just a couple of mistakes, getting out of cover a little bit. Boom, Kazna crew land on you. But, you know, I think WD, you're not really doing much at this point, you know. I think, although if they lose this game, then they will go 3-1 to Kazna crew. You know, they have to do something. They have to make some sort of decision. They take some initiative. On Abby, they did that, but it was a kind of a bad decision making. You know, they pushed around onto Hyber, and Hyber just ran away. Especially when he was on a hill, all he had to do was drive off the hill, and he was obviously going to get away from them. But, you know, on a map like this, when you lose David in that T1, and maybe Kaxo will also get taken down, do something. You know, perhaps put those AMX 5100s, which are so out the way at the moment from WD. They can get themselves back into the city. They can make a push. Even something cheesy, like putting all their tanks into the cap, that quite possibly win them the game. They just have to make the next move.
But we saw them being so tentative on the last map. It's going to be hard to see if they can, you know, bring themselves to it. I think they're a team that has very little confidence as such. They seem to be, you know, really taking to heart, you know, where they are on that leaderboard. You know, they haven't been getting the wins. They've not been really proving themselves right now. Maybe it's, you know, affecting their play at the moment, because, as you say, they look so passive.
They do look passive there. Mr. Chef getting tracked by Hyber. He's in a great position. Another shell connecting. 251, leaving Mr. Chef. But 123 will actually take him down. Hyber, that star player from Kazna crew, doing the work, doing the real nitty-gritty stuff. And, you know, Mr. Chef, the team captain, he's going to be absolutely livid, getting completely blown away by Hyber. Great play from Kazna crew, great position, taking the initiative, and, you know, eventually they were caught WD out, and yes, they have, and now they're going to put their next play, and they're going to do the cap move.
Yeah, forcing the hand of Team WD, so this will make them have to move. Hyber still in that great position, though. Already shells coming in onto Team WD, knocking down that T69, whereas Nicholas Black is sitting in, and this is not going well for them. It's forcing their hand, making them have to make the moves. Hyber does receive a shell, though, but coming back and forth. He's going to have to back away out of there. Oh, 359 on Hyber right now. He got called out a bit. He was waiting for his team to catch up to back him up, but it didn't happen in time, so he's going to have to play a little bit more passively, but still, the clock is ticking against Team WD.
Oh yeah, we go. The AMX 5100 getting themselves in the battles, connecting a good cell into Steel Mojo, but they won't be quick enough to get back to the cap, and Kaxa gave away his game too early. He wasn't able to cat Kobleons there as well. 2 in the cap, only has 13 seconds left. Those AMX 5100s are so far out, they can't do anything, leaving Jegiz and Nichols Black to do all the work. Jegiz is going to get back. He's probably going to take down Kobleon, so that'll be the cap gone. Nelum also will be the next on the target list.
Finally!
But Nichols Black has got to do the work. He's got to support his team. He's got to keep them in there. He can't get taken down by now an aggressive Palauda.
Yeah, indeed. Speeding his way around the corner. It's Hyber to take down Nichols, but due to the player below there, and Kazna crew is so good at forcing the enemy to make a move here and just completely controlling the pace and just completely dictating everything that happens there. It may not have gone completely the way they wanted, but it certainly made a move happen, and it has given them an advantage here. Hyber picking up 2, Runes picking up 1. The T1s, yes, they fell. Still Mojo fell, yes, but still, they took down, you know, Mr. Chef, Nichols, and David. These guys are still working it.
You know, I'm surprised by 505's play here. You know, he could do anything at this point. You know, he knows where Kazna crew is. He knows what they're going to do. He knows their tactic. Why isn't he doing something? He can push forwards. He can do pretty much anything. He can get himself behind Kazna crew, and the amount of damage he can do. But as Clouder gets completely blown up,
wow,
brilliant play there. And suddenly, WD doing the damage, getting themselves back in the game, as Runes will be the next target.
Yeah, suddenly woke up. Great connection coming back, though. Once again, Kazna crew dealing with that damage as a collective, as a unit. Runes only on 50 HP, but he did take down Mercurial, but finally gets taken out of the game.
Yeah, Kaxa's trying to push forward. That T1, he's only got 17 HP left. He's trying to do the spots out. 1 minute left on the clock, 26 to 25. At the moment, WD have the advantage. They did take out the extra T1. Vecco's still there, though, sitting peachy. 1,400 AMX 5100, 1,800 damage. Brilliant tank. Vecco not really into the game at the moment. It's kind of been like an all-star game for most of Kazna crew, but we haven't seen much from him. He has to do the damage. He has to prove himself to the team. You know, 30 seconds left, though. It's going to be a tricky job.
Yeah, I don't see how he can get, you know, going into this one. He's been so quiet to this point. He barely, you know, let a shell fly as such. But Hyber certainly has, and he's felt the wrath of the opposition. 119 left and 20 seconds on the board. Do you reckon we're going to see a move here?
Here, Vecco taking the first shell, 235 second, 295, 242, 942 even left on Vecco. The number of the beast, also Jaeger's there in AMX 5100, 3 seconds left, 2 seconds left, 1 second left. It will be a draw between Team WD and Kazna crew. So close. We did think Kazna crew were going to take it, but Team WD straight back into the game.
That was insane.
Insane. Really, really good play by them. Although I'd like to see more aggression from the MX 5100.
They dealt with, you know, Kazna crew fairly well there. I thought Kazna crew got the advantage. You know, when they made the push, they made the play towards the flag, they got the cap going. The T1s were in position, they made the plays. But I felt as though they didn't capitalize, and that's very rare for Kazna crew. Normally they're straight on point with that.
Yep.
They'll make the most of it. But right then, Team WD showed some real class and dealing with what just happened. They did not, you know, overreact. They didn't overly rotate. They didn't show, you know, their hands completely. They played it smart, played it well, and I thought they were going to turn that one around towards the end then. Yeah,
well, I mean, it's the higher ground that really went into WD's favor. I mean, Kobleon and Nalum in those TT1s, they went for the cap, and we saw Kazna crew go into the middle, Mr. Chef getting taken out by Hyber. So that was a good play from them so far. That was a good point. Then it kind of went downhill as those two MX 5100s got themselves into the battle. 505 there. He went forwards. He could really get himself into a good position, although
very true.
Much better position if he perhaps went a little further forwards. And they brought them back into the game, you know, and it's those two MX 5100s we were talking about. Could be key, could be disastrous, happened to be key, although it was a draw.
Yeah, exactly. But it kept them in this. That's the biggest thing right now, and that's all they can hope for. You know, they've got to pick their battles as such.
Indeed.
And you know, they picked the right ones there. They minimise the damage caused, and hopefully can, you know, bring this on the second game now. They need to kind of focus up. But we're going to find out now. Ruinberg will be underway in just a moment. It's going to be interesting.
Certainly is. I mean, WD are on the left. We got them starting from the south, Kazna crew from the north, as per usual. Replay of the next game. I think, we're going to see something completely different. I think Kazna crew are going to do something different. WD are going to do something different because, they have a strategy. They'll have an anti-strategy for what we just saw. Lineups will be the same, obviously. The AMX 1500 going for WD. And I'm hoping to God that they do something cheesy and take it to all.
You want to see cheese, dear God, man.
I live near Cheddar. I mean, come on, I love the cheesy strategies. Anyone who doesn't know where Cheddar is, it's a small town in England that happens to be called the cheese and was the birth founder of the cheese. So some history there.
No one knows that even exists right now. Only you. Just you. But nevertheless, we will be going in once again onto this wonderful map. We see a very similar start coming out from Kazna crew. Not necessarily, exactly the same down to the T, but, Runes and Paluda, Veko splitting up towards the hill. Still Mojo not too far behind. Mr. Chef spotted early on. This is a little bit like a repeat, but actually Team WD looking a little bit more, they've been spotted a lot. They've got the early damage onto Paluda. This is looking better.
Yeah, Mr. Chef managed to avoid the first shot from Paluda. He will take another one. Those Kazna crew, still Mojo connecting it. The team leader, good job from him. But, I think WD pretty happy with that first exchange. Paluda took a shell, Mr. Chef took a shell, although, WD have a good idea of what Kazna crew are going to do. But, but strangely enough, both teams going for the same tactic. No anti-tactic, no cheesy strategy, which I'm kind of surprised by, because you would have thought that, the team would do something different, because it's the logical thing to do, right? I mean, I might be going insane, but that's what I would do. Hyber's pushing forwards. Kazna crew going to do something straight, different. But he's not going to count Mr. Chef out this time. He's no way he's going to get caught out.
Oof. You say that. He did receive another shell there, forcing some sort of reciprocation from Team WD. Once again, Paluda, the only one really damaged up right now. Still Mojo is knocked down, but this is looking like a very different start now.
Yeah, still Mojo down to 621. That was the thanks to Makizio on the AMX 1500. We've got 505 to his right as well. Mr. Chef's going forwards. It's a good thing. Mr. Chef seems to be their playmaker. He's doing all the plays for them. He won the battle beforehand, and he's going to try and win the battle for that this time around. But Mr. Chef going down again, 248, 281, going so low in his AMX 1390. He's going to have to get himself out of there. But, those AMX 5100s are always there. They're always there to try and counter them, always there to try and back him up. So any damage he takes, they immediately reply back onto Kazna crew with.
Yeah, I absolutely love the play between Hyber and Runes. They're not necessarily next to each other, but they're literally handing off. As soon as, Runes lays down a couple of shells, it quickly comes back to Hyber. So it's fantastic between the two.
Yeah, indeed. But, WD, they have to do something. They have to get back in. They have to get themselves forwards. They can't let Mr. Chef do all the work. If he does, he's going to get blown up, because he's down to 120 health at this point, 127 even. He's going to be an easy target. He's going to be the first target for Kazna crew. The other players have to get into the game. Nickel's back, sitting Peachy. Jaeger's is sitting Peachy. I've got to learn his name at some point. It's like impossible.
Make it up. Call him Bob.
Bob is going to make himself useful. Makizio and 505 can push forward to help David in that T1. I just think WD have to make the plays. They have to do something. Kazna crew, they still have the advantage. They still have the one-round advantage. And, they are the team which can easily take the maps which they're strong at. This is one of WD's strong maps. They have to win this one. They can't afford Kazna crew to win or anything. They can't do anything. And I just think, again, WD have to do something. They have to make the plays. Otherwise, it's going to be see you later.
It's getting down to that point now. These guys have been playing so long. They know how to do it. That's the thing. They're such an accomplished team. They've shown real class before. Team WD need to do it again. They need to somehow force the hand of Kazna crew. They did it when Kazna crew made the first move, but to take the initiative seems to be the big issue right now with Team WD, and they just don't want to. I don't know if it's a lack of confidence. I don't know if it's because of the previous results. Obviously, this is a very important moment. They don't want to throw it away as such, but you also have to take some sort of initiative and really bring the fight to Kazna crew, because they still have a map to play with. They can allow this one to drop if they really have to, but Team WD can't, and yet they don't want to take the reins here. Very surprising, but nevertheless, we still see a very strong stalemate. 5 minutes left on the board. Neither side really want to break the silence right now. Once again, Nichols has been spotted in that T69. Couple of shells coming through. I don't know if it got a connection. I think it did onto Paluda, maybe. I'm not too sure, but not a great deal, if anything. It's still so tentative right now.
Yeah, still Mojo. He's going forward and back with Paluda. Rune's being spotted. Runes has taken a couple. He will take another one. 291, 46 damage, but, you know, Kazna gone for that. But, you know, Runes, he isn't able to get forward. He is a two-shot, especially for those AMX 5100s. So he's got to get himself back. But then, you know, Mr. Chef's down to 127. So that is kind of mitigated that advantage for WD. You know, I think, you know, Kazna Crew are one of those teams that definitely will go to Gamescom, almost certainly, unless they lose pretty much every game here for now. But, you know, they're a really weak team at offline events. We can pretty much say that with confidence. They come last every single time. But with this kind of play, with this kind of strength, and especially in this patch, they're certainly looking strong to be, you know, even maybe a top 3 finisher at Gamescom. I'd
love to see them, excuse me, do well in a situation like that. They're a team that certainly deserve it. But whether or not they can dig deep enough, very different question. It's not the easiest thing at offline events. But, you know, they've been challenging likes of WoT Pro, Dignitas. They've had some strong wins throughout. I don't see why they couldn't really turn up. That's the thing. But they still need to get games like this in the bag. They still need to keep building up that points that they've been working on. It's very easy to slip. We saw WoT Pro doing it. We saw, you know, having a clean slate as such, and then slipping down. They've lost 2 games now almost. It's very easy to do, and we do not want to see the Kazna Crew doing that, especially when they're one of those teams that really suffer, you know, offline events. They don't keep that strength with them that they have during the online ones. But finally, we see a little bit of movement here. Yeah, we got the double AMX 5100s finally pushing up. There's 505 Makisi. They're going to find Veko straight away. The first shell's going to connect, taking down to 115. The second shell's even there. Veko's going to get himself back out of that situation. He does reply with a shell onto Makisi, but Veko's going in so much trouble as Makisi's going to take another shot. Yeah, indeed. He's been absolutely tracked to bits right now. He does get taken down, and that finally brings the ball into the court of Team WD and makes Kazna Crew have to make a move, and finally they are doing it right here, right now. Yeah, Runes is down to 436. Nickelback's going to take a lot of damage. He will get finally taken out, but he's got Jaegers in the background to support him. I believe he's probably reloading, but Runes is doing the same as 505's really doing the stuff for his team. He's been so passive throughout, and finally getting the shells down, finally doing the damage, and he's going to have to rely on his team to do the rest as well, Rune's getting blown away completely. That MX 3090, that 40 seconds reload, not doing any wonders for him at all. As Mr. Chef finally takes down Naylor. Wow. It's this initiative I was talking about. Finally taking the initiative there. Fantastic stuff from them. Very well played by them. Wow. We were saying it the whole time, you know, the AMX 5100s, all they have to do is push forwards. The rest of their team only has to push into the middle, supporting those AMX 5100s. Bish, bash, bosh, next game. And Team WD showing us how it's done on Ruinberg. Veko getting blown away. Runes was next. Still Mojo couldn't do anything for his team in that situation. Hyber was out of position. You know, it was simple stuff. It just needed that first foot forwards, first foot in the door, and then they could take it. And now we're on to Mines, a game they actually won against Kazna Crew in Matchday 4, so looking real good for them. This is one of the defining maps that sealed the deal, and what a way to end it on if it did go their way, or, you know, who knows which way it's going to go now, because both teams have 2 maps each as such. So it's going down to the wire, to say the very least, and what a way to end things off if it does obviously go clean out on this one, because as you said, there's history here. This was, you know, the nail in the coffin as such the last time they played. It's going to be tense, to say the very least. Kazna Crew letting it slip through their fingers there a little bit. They didn't take the initiative for once. Normally they're a team that has a lot of confidence. They're happy dealing with any situation thrown at them, but right then they were caught off guard. And I was a little bit surprised that they had no reply for Team WD. Yeah, I know, especially when Mr. Chef went down to 127 real early on from Hyber and Paluda, even still Mojo backing him up. So, you know, in the terms of the HP point advantage, you know, WD were on the back foot for sure. Kazna Crew, you know, it's kind of strange. They made the play, first of all, you know, the first game, the first draw. And then the second game, they were kind of unsure. That, you know, they obviously thought about their first play like a lot, and obviously didn't work. So they're kind of like, what do we do now? You know, what can we do? And maybe what they came to the conclusion was, let's just wait to see what WD's play was, which happened to be a lot stronger. You know, they had the higher ground, the MX 5100 backups. You know, I'm just surprised that WD didn't do it earlier. You know, we were talking about those AMX 5100s either being able to win you the game or lose you the game. You just got to bring them into the game at the end of the day. That's what the team struggle with so much, bringing the heavy tanks to the team. But, you know, great play when it came out for them. If they can do it on Mines, if they can take the initiative on Mines,
then, you know, the 3-2, it's going to be a historic 3-2, really. Especially from Himmelsdorf. I mean, Kazna completely looked dominant on Himmelsdorf.
Oh, unbelievably so. They looked... Well, they looked like a top 3 team, which is exactly what they are, but they've been knocked back down as such. They look like the Kazna crew from maybe Season 1 that didn't quite have the answers to a lot of the questions the opposing team was asking. But Minds, wow. And the one thing that's really going to stand out to me is whether or not Kazna crew went back over the replays, watched them back, watched their demos back, anti-strategy what maybe worked for Team WD. Because if it's a defining map, if you lose out on one map so definitely, I'd be like, right, guys, we need to watch this back. Where did we go wrong here? What really held us back in this? If they've done that, they should be fine. If they haven't, you know what I mean? It's all about the preparation towards this, and you cannot take these guys for granted. No matter if you're at the very top seed or the very bottom, it can still change. We saw Spale, who's doing okay at the moment. You know, they're around the mid-tier, beating WoT Pro, who previously looked untouchable. Everything can change. So hopefully these guys have not been taking it too lightly. They haven't been complacent, because that could really be, as such, the nail in the coffin again here. And it's a hard map to play.
It's pretty much, I reckon, the hardest map to play. I mean, you know, it's quite easy to play averagely. You know, in random battles, it's kind of a map which everyone enjoys.
Yeah, true.
So like a media core level. And then it's so hard to take that next step. But, you know, it's the map which defines 7-on-7 esports. You know, this is the first map it was tested on. It has all the elements. It has that middle section. He has the island section. He has the eastern village. Has balanced sides. Everything about it is almost perfect. And I think, you know, the teams that win on this map are the teams that are really true 7-on-7 esports teams. They're the ones which don't have the cheesy strategy. They're the ones which use their brain, they use their tactical like superiorness and also their player skill to the greatest effect. So, you know, a real good map. We're in for a real treat, but tank picking has started. Double T1s from both teams, T69, AMX 1390 from both teams. So far, you know, the same from both teams. Ruenberg was the only map we saw which was slightly different in terms of lineup. So far it's just been mirrored picks all the way. But, you know, they're trying to go for the same lineups. They're trying to get the damage out. We have seen a couple of teams take a T32 on this one.
Yeah, I do remember.
But I'm not sure. You know, it didn't work for, I think it was D-Nova. Delgado was playing that on Minds against Spale, I believe it was, which they ended up actually losing. So not a great pick in so many respects. He couldn't reverse out of there quick enough. He was playing from the northern spawn. As tank picking does continue, WD taking the double T69s, Kazna crew taking the T69 and AMX 1390. So again, that switch up between the T69 and the AMX 1390 come in for both teams. WD going for the extra T69, while Kazna crew going for the extra AMX 1390. But so far, pretty standard stuff, and I think, luckily for us, it's going to be out skill and strategy.
It is, and what a way to enjoy this map, especially. For a map that's defined these two teams before, and really kind of edged out how they're looking towards in the later bit of the season, it's going to be so important, and I love seeing it on this, especially. You know, these two fought out before, and Team WD won it, but under a previous team name. You know, they were a very different lineup back then, and they went on a bit of a losing spree, pretty much. You know, they let themselves down almost during that early start of the season. They had a great start, and then it slipped. Now's the time to turn it around, and what a way to bring things back up to start repeating that start of the season. That's what we need to see. So hopefully they can dig deep, and this is the map they do it on in some sort of poetic fashion almost.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, they did so well, as you said, until they met Mouse Sports, and then they got whipped, and they kind of, you know, it brought them down to earth. They thought, you know, perhaps we're not, you know, as polished as we've been, as we thought we were, and that kind of put them in a lower mood. They kind of lost a couple of games and won a couple of games. It's, you know, a hard position to be in, especially if you're a new team which hasn't experienced the pressure, you know, the skill level, you know, the format, your best of 5 of a pro league. But a last pick from WD will be a T69. I think they're going to go for the heavy T69 lineup, you know, taking 3 of them so far. Kazna crew probably going to go for 1 as well. I mean, they've got an extra AMX 1390 in there. Oh, T32. My fables are correct today. I like it.
Ooh. I'm kind of worried. You're being correct in games.
I am. It's a good thing. I mean, Monday it wasn't too bad.
Thing.
It's been like 2 weeks of me being correct, and then 2 weeks of me being incorrect, and then last week I kind of got half them right. So I'm happy with this. This
You're
is real
more
good.
inconsistent than Spale. That's interesting.
That's pretty much impossible, let's be honest.
But yeah, as I said, a little bit of a curveball coming out, and oh, it's nice to see. Don't get me wrong. It's a gamble. As such, it's
it definitely
risky.
is. It definitely is.
Very, very risky. We've seen it not pay off. That's the big thing. Maybe they've worked something out. Maybe they have something in mind. I don't know. We're gonna have to look at Kazna crew here to show us what they have in store, because it's a very different team composition looking at these two lineups.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, the T32 Kazna crew are going to be playing from the south, I believe. So obviously they're going to use that in the middle. It can't be used anywhere else. That's the thing about this tank lineup. You know, it can't be used on the village because it's too slow. It can't be used at the island because it's too slow. So at least WD will know that they have that tank in the middle. They at least know where one of their tanks will be. So they can use that to their advantage. But, you know, looking through the lineups, WD going for such a strange one. 4 T69s, 2 T1s, and an AMX 1390. So, you know, they were the team that kind of made the 5 AMX 1390 lineup on steps. So perhaps not such a surprise. Kazna crew as well, you know, double T69, T32, and a double AMX 1390. So kind of strange, you know. At the beginning we had so many mirror lineups, and now we have something completely different.
Yeah, massive disparity. Maybe this is Kazna crew anti-stratting Team WD. Maybe this is something that they worked out. I don't know. We're going to have to see live in this one. It's the defining game here. It will be on Minds. It's going to be incredible, guys. I can't wait. So, welcome to Minds. It will be the 5th map played. It could be the defining map between these two, previously lifting Team WD to that victor status, but it could all change. So, Kazna crew will be starting up to the north in that blue color, whereas towards the south in the gold and yellow, it will be Team WD. So now, what are we seeing early on from these guys?
Well, WD have got the very heavy T69 lineup, taking 4 of them, so we can expect something towards the middle area. Indeed, we do. We see 2 of them go towards the bush, the left side. Jaegers and Maikizio going towards the right side, going towards that middle area. Stelmojo being spotted immediately by Mr. Chef. Again, making all the plays, doing the offensive stuff for Team WD, while having the rest of his team kind of back him up a little bit. But, you know, they've got to be careful. They've got to be careful that Hyber in that T32 doesn't cause them too much of a headache. They don't want to be playing into that tank strategies, into that tank's strengths, which is obviously that 298 millimeters of turret armor, and, you know, the incredible amount of damage it can absorb, especially from heat shells, especially since the changes. Heat, you know, not doing anything towards the tracks because they now count as spaced armor. Cobra being spotted by Jaegers. He managed to get himself up there, which is quite strange, and it's just such a slow tank. But, you know, Kazna, all they have to do here is use that T32, and that will possibly be the winning move for them.
Yeah, but Dark Dawn has been boosted up here. You can see him just keeping eyes on that T69. This is a very interesting bit of play. Both teams very tentative at the start. Team WD with a bit more better positioning, I'd say, a bit more aggressive positioning. Really edging ahead here, but nevertheless, you can see how close these guys are. Rune's trying to join him up here, but there we go. Stelmojo just join in. Might be able to get him up there just about. There we go. So Runes and Dark Dawn now boosted up to this little ledge where they could make a move here. And this really could catch Team WD off guard if they fancy making a bit of a push out of this. Quite interesting if they feel that that's the right choice to make here, though, as it's still very risky.
Indeed, it's a risky move, putting 2 MX 3090s on that ledge. We haven't seen that strategy actually work out, both for Dragonborns and also we saw Nova do that before. You know, it's a hard one because Jaegers is going to be expecting that. You know, you can see his turret aimed towards that area. It's the common strategy now. You know, if he can connect the first couple of shells, all he has to do is reverse a couple of meters and he's out of danger straight away.
Yeah.
And then Team WD, they can push straight in the middle because they'll know where the majority of the firepower is from Kazna.
Yeah, and I want to see if they have a timed attack here. Looking at the likes of Kazna, you see that T-32, T-69, and another T-69 lining up just around the corner. I'm curious to see if they make a move in complete unison. They split the attention of Team WD right now. But we're going to have to see if they execute that, if they're waiting on a certain time, if they're waiting on a certain go marker as such. They have spotted 505, but will that be enough? So Jaeger's just edging around. Couple of shells exchanged, no connections though. So still stalemate, very even, but it could all break in a second the way these two are looking. They look so tentative, so on the edge of pushing at the moment. Jaeger's still keeping eyes on Dark Dawn. There we go. Hyber is the first to connect that shell onto 505. They're in that T-32. Still Mojo just peering around the side, see if he can get a glimpse as well, get some shells down. But no go signal yet for these guys. They're playing it quite slowly, but they're controlling the pace as such. They're making sure, you know, even though at a slightly disadvantageous place, they can still kind of call the plays.
Indeed, you know, at the moment though, Team WD, they're playing into that T-32's hands, you know. Hyber doesn't have to worry too much about the damage he's going to take because he's using that tank so well. The only weak spot for WD's advantage they can use is the Hyber's left turret side, his copula. That's the only thing that can really be penetrated by the 300 millimeters of penetration from the T-69. But you know, from this 250, 300 meter range, it's so hard. It's almost impossible. Especially with Hyber, he's moving backwards and forwards. He's a great player. He knows how to dodge the shells. He knows how to get himself into the right situations at the right time. And so far, 505 down to 988. So he's not winning the battle. And, you know, the T-32 has decent penetration. It's got 244, which is enough to penetrate the T-69's turret. You know, he might bounce a couple of times, as we just saw. He's got bounce. You can see on the side the ricochet mark right here. So, you know, that can happen. But on the whole, Hyber's certainly going to win an engagement like this.
Yeah, and as you said, he knows how to play it perfectly. It's just allowing Kazna crew to obviously keep a bit of an upper hand here. Even though on such a stalemate situation, they still look like they've got an advantage. Jaegers is making a move around, and I think this will be time for the Kazna crew guys who pushed up on that ledge to make their move. And here comes Dark Dawn and Runes laying down the fire. 2 shells in quick succession, taking him down to 139. Only a couple more shells will do the damage, and it's Dark Dawn to get the first frag in the bag. But here comes backup.
Yeah, back up in the form of McKeezy in that T-69. He's connected a couple of shells onto Dark Dawn, taking down to 347. And Runes is going to get himself out of there, left on 859. And we can see Mr. Chef and the MX-3090 there to his right. Dark Dawn will be their target if they decide to go in. It's all or nothing for WD at the moment. Losing the T-69 to a kind of a short-sighted push. You know, he pushed forwards. He was even aiming his tank, his turret, his gun towards the area Dark Dawn and Runes were in those AMX-1390s. He expected them to be there. He pushed forwards nonetheless, and he got completely destroyed. Bad play from them.
Yeah, but impressive stuff from Kazna, who'd get out of there alive as such and receive minimal damage. But Nicholas pushes around in that T-69 to be met by Paluda. I think he imagined that all the attention would be on Mr. Chef, and it certainly wasn't. Hyber laying down the fire, as is Paluda. The shells are raining in towards Team WD, taken down to minimal amounts of HP. 504, 368 is not a great position to be in, and it's forcing Kazna crew to make a push forward. And you don't want to put these guys in a position like this, because they will certainly pick it up. Damage still being laid down. It's looking like Kazna crew are really going to come off better here. There we go. Hyber does find 505, leaving Nicholas in a world of trouble, surrounded by the guys of Kazna crew. 48 HP, and he's out of there. Still Mojo will claim that one and keep a firm advantage in the hands of Kazna crew here. Yeah,
Mr. Chef trying to get out of there. Hyber's aiming his gun onto him. He's probably going to connect the shell. No, he doesn't, by millimeters. McKeezy's probably reloading. Mr. Chef certainly is. Pilauda is there to back him up. Runes is going to be there as well. It's 3 against 1, although I think Mr. Chef will probably take down Pilauda. No, he doesn't. He actually bounce that shell, but the third one, no. 136 from Runes takes him down, and suddenly, you know, Kazna crew within seconds showing why they're a superior team. And I think McKeezy, he's going to be out of there. He's going to be down. Thanks to Still Mojo. You know, brilliant play from Kazna crew, short-sighted play from Team WT. The difference between experience and inexperience, I think.
GGs are being said already. This was certainly a game for Kazna crew here, showing absolute class as only one player stands for the Team WD side who's been finally put out of his misery, and Kazna crew, one absolutely astounding game from them. I absolutely loved that play. For a team that clearly had a disadvantage before on that map, to dig deep enough to pull it out, Wow, absolutely brilliant. There was a questionable pick there as such. I think they showed us exactly why they picked it. I love the composition at the start by boosting up those two players, expecting someone to get a little bit overzealous on the opposition, push forward, and then obviously come in, do the work, get the early advantage. Lovely stuff.
Yeah, and it goes even further than that. We saw D-Nova get caught out with that T-32. It got blown away by the two T-69s on the hill. Yeah. But Kazna crew, they thought of that. They already mitigated for that. They put the two AMX-3090s on the hill, which would have been plenty to take down two T-69s. They have the 6L autoloader, 1,440 damage to the 1,350 the T-69 has. So that would have been no problems at all. That would have been an easy engagement for Kazna crew. So that T-32, it had all the space it needed to push up the hill. We saw so much damage being trying to put onto it. But it lost like 300 HP because the shells were ricocheting, they were bouncing, they were getting absorbed. It was almost impossible for Team WD to do anything to that tank. And it was, again, they played into that tank strength. And perhaps now Kazna crew have shown the way, they've shown the light for the rest of the teams. We'll maybe see the T-32 more and more. I hope we will, because it's an old school tank. We saw it. We saw it like so much. It was the defining tank. And teams just need to be able to use it like Kazna crew if they can. I think it's going to be the winning tank.
Yeah, most certainly. But, both sides showed some real promise there. But Team WD, it wasn't enough. And, looking over the overall rankings here, they really do need to start kind of bringing it up, especially. They've had a good couple of games, very close games. But it's not close enough right now. They're not getting the victories in the bag. And hopefully we can have a little look at the rankings just to see exactly what damage that could do to them further on in this tournament, because it will get a lot tenser. And looking down that 9th position right now, maybe on paper they would never have won against Kazna crew, but these guys have been playing so many games, and another loss, it's not what you need. WoT.de are only on 12 points, and they're on 15. They're close behind, so they can drop down so easily. If they keep losing these games, it's going to really affect them in the long run. And at this point, where it's meant to be a linchpin moment, you can't start slipping. It was good start from them. They picked up the maps they should do, but that final one, Kazna crew were prepared.
Yeah, and I think, they need to take the initiative more. They need to play to their own strengths, which is synergy and coordination more. And if they do that, then they can start winning again. They still have a chance. They're not out of this.
Oh, certainly not.
They can still qualify in 6th place if they start winning pretty much every game here on out. But they need to be also looking towards the eventuality that possibly they need to be fighting for against relegation even. So they don't want to be sitting in those bottom 2 spots, which I don't think they will do. GF Gaming has only got one win to 13 losses even. Yeah. So I don't think they'll go down that far, but they need to make sure that they get the wins under the bag and hope that other teams start slipping. But it's a hard one to call.
Exactly that. But it was a hard one to call. I personally supported Kazna crew there. I thought, I think they'll pull it out. But I don't think we could have predicted going down to just mines. On paper, in theory, that should have been Team WD's map. But I'm curious to know how you guys at home got on with your votes and your opinions. And I know a lovely lady, who can tell us exactly how that went down. So, Melly, how are we doing?
I'm still looking through the comments, and all I see is Kazna, 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 Kazna. Everybody's
fan favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have 2 winners that predicted the outcome of the match. Absolutely correct. Roughly 1 hour ago, it was Edwin and Boris. Congratulations. And message me and you will get your bonus key. And we also have questions.
Oh,
you can
sweet
ask
baby
questions
Jesus.
via Twitter by using the hashtag WoT Pro League. And the best 3 tweets of the day will be rewarded as well. So I think. Okay, first question. How didn't Team WD spot Kazna's IS-3 and T-69 that came from the center? I don't understand new camo mechanics. I think it was the first map.
Right, yeah, I remember it. It was a pretty short drive for them. I think Team WD, they were probably meters away from spotting them. If they went forwards a little bit, then maybe they would have got the line of sight. But if you're behind a wall, the wall obviously acts as an object, and you can't spot through walls. Logic dictates that. I think Kazna crew, they knew those 2 tanks were there, and they just got themselves into a right position, pushing around in the right areas, making sure they didn't get line of sight. And that's probably the reason. And good play from them. Yeah. It's just taking that next step. Knowing where all the walls are, knowing where all the holes in those walls are, and just avoiding them as much as possible.
Okay, next question. When we'll have nicknames, tank names on the minimap, I don't know if you're in the position to answer that question, but what is your opinion on that? Do you think the minimap would be crowded, or?
Yeah, I think at the moment I think we need some more suggestions and your opinions towards the mods, obviously, because they're a new addition. Obviously, you guys probably at home are noticing we've got, the nice new overlays. And there's a couple of more things in the works, but I think we can maybe not crowd the minimap so much. I don't want to, take too much away from it. I think it looks nice as it is, but I think there's different ways we're working on it, and there are stuff, just a couple of things in the pipeline. I don't give away too much. Secrets.
Indeed. I'm not going to say anything. Don't worry. It's all good. I probably don't know anything. That's the problem.
He knows nothing, but anyway. Yeah, our producer, manager as such is behind us is looking like he's about to go just like that if we say too much. But there are things coming up that will kind of clear up a couple of things and make it a lot more viewer-friendly as well, because obviously for us we get to see it all in front of us. You guys we're working on it. Obviously, let us know your thoughts towards the changes as well, because we have added a lot of features in there. And I love the overlay at the moment. I love the little bit at the top. It just spoon feeds me things that I don't know, which is great. And obviously the minimap now having both teams on it, and real nice additions. There's
it says
more
your
stuff
name
coming.
on the minimap. It says your name on the top part. Do you know your name?
Shut up.
You said spoon feeds you things you don't know. You don't know your name, the alphabet.
He's trying to make jokes.
1
It's
to
really
9, things like that. I think we should Stephen, we should get that implemented next.
Stop trying to make jokes. It never works. Anyway, Melly, any other questions?
Yeah, last one. Why aren't they using Arties on Prokhorovka? A good and open map, perfect for Arties, in my opinion.
Oh, well, we've been talking about this pretty much since match day 1. I mean, it's all about that 8.6 changes. 8.5 artillery was fine. 8.6 artillery was awful. I mean, 20% shell travel time, actually nerfs, HP nerfs, all sorts of stuff. And obviously the tier point changes make it really hard to come up with a good lineup. Like the Lorraine 15551 was a tier 7, now it's tier 8. Shiva Panther was tier 6, now it's tier 7. So you can't be coming with your T71s, etc., etc., your T50-2s. You have to take a T50 instead. So, those reasons. It's one of those hard things. We do enjoy watching artillery, especially on maps like Prokhorov, because they can bring a team back into games.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how the kind of rankings have changed a bit since season 1, season 2 because of that. But yeah, those are the main reasons. Shame, but we do like those. We do like the synergy and the kind of coordination all the tanks have. So it's good and bad.
Yeah. Anything else?
No.
No more.
I already said that it was the last question. I already zoomed out and trying to find... No, it's okay. No, yeah, it's easy. Get yourself in there by simply using the hashtag WoT Pro League. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and be part of the show.
Well, Melly's let you know how you can get involved, and obviously the best way you can do that is via the channel she said, but keep in mind we do have Mouse Sports now coming up against Team WD. Now, coming off a loss, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a hard task to rally yourselves back up. They beat these guys before. Once again, they should be able to do it, but whether they can, who knows? I'm excited to see it. Certainly, I can imagine you are as well. And Melly she is absolutely going wild in the corner. You can't see her right now, but she is absolutely buzzing for this one at the moment. But guys, we'll be back in a moment with Mouse Sports up against the one and only Team WD, who have to pick themselves up, pick up the pieces, and hopefully bring the challenge.
Liverpool and everything seems the same, but I worked something out last night that changed this little boy's brain. A small piece of advice that took 22 years.